Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to another episode from Tales from the Script. Today we're just gonna do some free thinking, freewheeling, gossiping, culminating in a bedtime story. So, I was thinking about conspiracy theories since there's so many going around recently, and I was thinking about all the theories that I had about stories in the past, and I thought I'd share some of them with you. Let's go really let's throw it back like around 12 years, right? When Brad Pitt left his wife for Angelina Jolie. Remember when that happened? And then they went to Namibia to have a child. And I guess people were not like, what are they called? Gossip mags or gossip mongers were not too bothered about why. Why did they go to Namibia? I mean, they could have had their baby anywhere. Why would you go to Namibia in the middle of the desert to have a baby? Some people said, media frenzy, whatnot. But I don't think that's it. Or rather, that's it, but not for the reason. I think the reason that they went was because the baby was born a lot earlier that they were willing to admit, meaning that the baby was conceived a lot earlier than they were willing to admit, as in probably when Brad was still very much married and probably Jennifer didn't know shit. So I see a lot of people, they pit Jennifer against Angelina, and Brad just gets away scot-free, and yet he is the one who's the struggle. He's ruined 13 years of Jennifer's life with his whole oh no, poor her, oh she's so unlucky in love, and oh my god, she's so tragic. So he ruined her life, and then I don't know, him and Angelina are just like the same, but he also ruined the lives of his children. I mean, if basically you can reach the point of you do not want to speak to your father, and I know struggle fathers, and their kids still speak to them. By the time it reaches a point your kid doesn't want to speak to you, you know that you have caused some major damage. So this guy just goes around causing damage, but because he knows how to make some good jokes, and he's also he produces movies which are woke, quote unquote, then we all have to like him. So personally, I do not like or dislike him, but I just dislike the situation. I dislike the fact that his mistakes are put on the women who are his victims, right? So this shouldn't be Angelina versus Jennifer. It should be, wow, Brad Pitt is kind of a jerk. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe people say Angelina is a marriage wrecker, but she was not the one who was married to Jennifer. It was Brad. And we love to take responsibility away from men, We do not want them to feel even a tiny bit of responsibility. They're just supposed to be like it's not my fault. I'm just the man in this equation. I'm just like, whatever, it's annoying. I don't like it. And I don't subscribe to that notion. And I see it a lot. It's always the woman's fault. If Dwayne Wade's child wants to become a trans woman, it's Gabrielle Union's fault. She's the one who, I don't know what she's supposed to have done to cause that, but it's her fault. And it's just so annoying. It's so annoying. Oh. So anyway, yeah, can we let men take responsibility for their own shit, please, and stop blaming the nearest woman in his life, okay? Because everyone's an adult and everyone can own their shit, is my point. So that's one theory. Another theory I wanted to talk about was the whole Jensen Ackles, Jared Padalecki, Genevieve Padalecki, Daniel Harris Ackles situation, right? So for years, the fandom has been writing fanfic equally. Sam and Dean fanfic and Jared and Jensen fanfic are like interchangeable by now. But it's just been like fanfic, right? Then of course you have like a few people who believe that the fanfic is actually not fanfic. It's actually real. Now, I wasn't like 100% one of those people. I could see that, wow, these people Jensen and Jared are so close. They're really like close, Like, would I move towns? Would I move from one town to another to just be close to my friend? I don't know. That's a hard one, I wouldn't do it. But just because I wouldn't do it doesn't mean that it can't be done, right? But that's above and beyond what most people would do. And they're just constantly photographed everywhere. And just one thing that I notice even now is Jared's smile. Jared's smile when he's with his kids and when he's with Jensen is very, very genuine. But not so much when he is pictured with his wife. I don't know if it's because she has a lot of do it for the gram pics, When you're doing it for the gram, you might feel a little self-conscious. So maybe that's why. But even the fact that she has to do it for the gram is a little weird. Anyway, so then Jared did this interview with Jimmy Kimmel. And he was explaining about how they work together and they live together in the same state, the same neighborhood. And Jimmy said something. It was kind of like implying, you guys are kind of like living in a commune sort of situation. And I think that like after that, just shortly after that, then the pictures of them disappeared from the world. Like, you didn't get social media pics. You didn't get people finding them in like shops or ski slopes and taking photos of them together. Like, there's hardly any photo of Jared and Jensen in the wild since that time. And it's kind of like, there are two things you can conclude: that suddenly they are absolutely not hanging out at all, or they are taking care to not be photographed together, right? So, and then you have to ask yourself why would they just take so much care not to be photographed together? Like, okay, maybe the stories are becoming too many, maybe it's too much, Maybe they want people to stop talking about them as if they are a couple, right? And one way to do that is to stop photographs of the two of you hanging out together. But just that whole effort is just like, now I'm wondering if there's any truth to the whole J2 are more than friends thing, right? But anyway, either way, it's really none of my business, is it? But it's nice to speculate, because there are just so few good things going on in the world, and I think it would be a good thing if they love each other like that. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Love is always a good thing, and I'm sure that they have that handled. What else did I want to speak about? I can't remember any other conspiracy theories that I wanted to speak about, but I wanted to not go into 40 minutes today like a session with Chris did, because we're not doing that. Okay, so I'm going to go into phase 2 of my session, where we're gonna read from Erase and Rewind after a word from the sponsors. So, we're reading Erase and Rewind by Anne-Marie Musawale, available in ebook form on all retailers. So, chapter 1, Menses. Her period was getting embarrassing. This was her 3rd week bleeding, and the flow didn't seem to be abating even a little bit. If anything, it was getting worse. She was seeing double, and she couldn't quite walk in a straight line. She couldn't tell anyone, though. Her father would run screaming from the room if she tried to talk menstruation with him, and her brother might drive her to the hospital in a panic. This was one of those awkward times when she wished her mother had asked her to come along when she walked out on all of them 7 years ago. Well, she hadn't, so Rosemary would just have to handle this the best way she could. She excused herself from class to go and see the nurse, hoping she'd be able to get there, considering her vision was blurry. This was a good time to have a best friend she could call on. Unfortunately, her best friend was also her panicky brother, so she was back to square one. She walked slowly, arm trailing against the wall, to the nurse's office. Nurse Sylvester was always very concerned. Her eyes went squinty, and she'd lean forward to listen intently when someone was confiding their problems to her. It was as if she was trying to compensate for all the neglectful parents who abandoned their kids to her care. Rosemary didn't bite, though. She knew for a fact that it was Nurse Sylvester who'd spread the rumor that Angie Lemon had gonorrhea. But she was Rosemary's only shot, so needs must. She arrived at the door of the nurse's office and found it closed. She knocked tentatively and opened the door to see Nurse Sylvester moving swiftly away from the table where Mr. Maxwell stood stock still, looking like a deer caught in the headlights. Rosemary stuttered. "Should I come back?" No, Nurse Sylvester said. "Come right in. How can I help you?" Rosemary glanced at Mr. Maxwell, wondering if she was supposed to expose her issues in front of him. "I'll just leave," he muttered, shoving past her with one hand shielding his crotch. Not that Rosemary didn't know what was going on there. And that's the end of that section for today. Tune in next time for the next bit from Erase and Rewind. Have a good morning, evening, afternoon, day, night. Mwah.